Hi, this is artist, entrepreneur, and art educator Eric McRae. I received a email from a nice lady by the name of Laura, and she wanted to know about pricing prints. And the conversation she and I had eventually went over to the whole issue of how to price prints, whether an artist should even make prints, what images should you print. All of those things are contingent upon you as an individual artist and what your aesthetic is and what your business model is and what do you think is important about the uniqueness of your art. Some artists will not make prints of their work or mass produce their work through digital or offset lithography processes. Others do purely what you would call hand pull prints, like hand pulled lithographs, silk screens, etchings, monoprints, which are considered more of a fine art medium versus the more mechanical base, such as lithography or giclées. Now, I'm throwing around a lot of terms here that many of you may not be familiar with, and I would suggest hit Google, look up these terms, get an idea about these different processes of making prints. But bottom line, when an artist creates, let's say a visual artist who works in 2D, starts to create images of their work, will create their artwork, painting, drawing, watercolors, whatever they do. And then they ask the question, well, I want to be able to make prints of my work. Now, here's my big issue, my pet peeve with reproducing your work or mass producing work. What often happens with a lot of artists, they can make a good living doing that, but what happens is the priority becomes pushing paper and selling reproductions, and they forget about the craft of making their art. Well, they say, well, I'm making X number of dollars a month, a week, a year, whatever, because they found a way to paint one painting and reproduce it. And people really look harshly upon a guy like, I can't remember the man's name now, Thomas Kinkade. The man mass-produced stuff. He took it to a whole nother level. Now, we're not talking about something, a machine that massive. But let's say if you did a really cool painting and everybody loves it and you want to make 10 prints, 50 prints, 100 prints, 1,000 prints, 10,000 prints. That's your business and all contingent upon how you produce your work. But the bottom line is, regardless of what you do, you can't fall into the trap of making mediocre art and then focus on so much about prints, because so much of your time is consumed with making prints of your work and then selling the prints and finding a way to distribute prints and the framing and doing art expos just to move product, constantly worrying about selling that edition of prints. I've made prints of my work. It can be very lucrative, but there's always that quagmire of, okay, now I have all these prints and I have 500 of these and 1,000 of those. What am I going to do with all this stuff? I got to recoup my costs, and then the artist is pursuing, making money, which is okay. You have to make money to afford to be an artist. That's just the reality. Unless you have some rich benefactor, and that doesn't always pan out as well as people think, because that always comes with a price of your freedom and sometimes even your dignity. That now they're all of a sudden consumed with selling prints. So don't let your craftsmanship, your skill, your ability to produce art erode while you're becoming a printmaker or a print producer. Some artists can reproduce their stuff till it cheapens their brand, and all of a sudden they come across just been a little gift shop, print shop kind of place, and they got little nifty images of this and little cutesy pictures of that. And if you're a cutesy painter or a nifty painter or a scenic painter, or you paint death and destruction, whatever your vibe is, that's okay. That's your thing. But be careful that you don't erode your credibility in the process. And I am an artist who definitely believes in the free market and being able to make a living with your work. I've been working as a self-employed artist for over 18 years. So I understand paying the mortgage and taking care of the kids and paying health care costs and taking care of elderly parents and young children. All those excuses that people use for why they can't do their art, I've dealt with every last one of them. So it's just a matter of your level of determination and drive. So back to making prints. Pricing a print is a lot of times based off the popularity of your original work. What is the standard price for prints that are comparable by comparable artists in your area. If you're in Manhattan, your price is obviously going to be different than if you're in Arkansas. If you're selling an 18 by 24 print for a certain price and your neighbors is 5 times and they're selling steadily and they're the same level of notoriety as you are, then you need to up your prices. If your 18 by 24 is a price and you're never selling and the guy next to you, his price is half of yours and he's selling constantly, then you're probably overpriced. Let's take it out of the realm of art and we're selling bread, or we're selling car tires, or we're selling gasoline. Whatever, the bottom line is that the free market is going to apply even more so with with prints. And whether they're fine art prints that you actually hand pulled, or you send a JPEG off to somebody and somebody sends you a box full of prints, that's going to determine also the value of that work. And someone knew you did a one-of-a-kind, one-of-a-one mono print, it's going to be priced differently than your edition of 500 Giclées. If you're printing on canvas versus paper, all those are factors, and I can't give you a canned answer for all of that, but it's a constant kind of assessment. For me personally, I produce different types of art, and based off the popularity of those different works, the retail price of those pieces are different. But also the price for those prints may vary according to the popularity of the image, the size of the image, the type of material I'm printing with, whether I've come back and embellished the print by hand. All those are factors that you have to do your homework, because you're working on your career, your personal goals and endeavors. So you're going to have to do the heavy lifting, the intellectual exercises necessary to figure out how this works, and it's trial and error. You're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. That's the process. You say, well, gee, these things aren't selling. I'm frustrated. Dang blast it. I'm sick of them. Well, maybe you just, your ego's a little too big and your stuff's not as worth as much as you think that it is. Other case, you may be selling hotcakes because you basically got it so cheap, you're losing money. You say, well, it cost me this much to make them, and I'm selling for that amount. You're breaking even at best. It's time to up prices. They're selling well, but you're losing money while they're selling, or you're breaking even while they're selling. So now you got to adjust prices. We could go on and on and on talk about prints. Prints are very complex when it comes to how to price them and how to assess them in the marketplace. But the bottom line is, it's a good way to go. Just don't let it become your distraction, and you don't actually make your real art, your handcrafted, original, unique works where you're barely painting anymore because you're just so obsessed with printing paper. All right, well, thank you so much for taking time to look at another vlog that I posted. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also Eric McRae on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Share this with your friends. Share with other educational groups, art groups, business groups, whomever may be interested. We've got some great things we want to share. If you have questions, you can shoot me an email at eric@ericmcrae.com, or you can send me messages through Facebook Messenger. Always want to help out, and just keep me in mind for the future. Take care. Bye.